Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Soulevision, the safe channel to your soul. How you doing? How's your week been going? I hope it's been going well. Hope it's been going fine and dandy. My week has been going good. Right off the bat, this is going to be a shorter episode. I'm not sure if I want to keep them shorter. I just don't be having time to take out a whole entire hour because I do be having a whole entire hour, but I don't need my schedule to be jam packed. Even though this is one day, once a week. I don't know. I just be having a hard time finding the time. Even if I do schedule it, stuff just goes over. You know what I'm saying? And those things are more important. So therefore, that's why I don't know if I'll be having time. Okay? But the only thing I'm not going to be doing, which cuts off probably like 15, 20 minutes of the episode, is the Reddit segment. I might either do that as another video or I don't know. I really don't know if I want to keep it. I'm not sure. Because it's not the meat of the podcast, but it is fun because that's part of my personality. But yeah, I have to just find time to do this. Anywho, if you're new here, welcome. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're returning, welcome back. Good to see you. Nice to see you, sister, brother. All right, so we're going to jump into our affirmations. If you're new here, I say affirmations at the beginning of each and every episode so that we can be affirmed. We can start this podcast day, night, evening, whenever you're watching this. We started off on a good foot. Here's some positive self-talk. Okay? Now, these affirmations I took from different celebrities. So I thought that would just be interesting. And that's what we're going to do. Okay? First one. Am I good enough? Yes, I am. That's an affirmation from a former First Lady, Michelle Obama. And we love Michelle Obama. Good riddance to decisions that don't support self-care, self-value, and self-worth. Oprah Winfrey. We do not need magic to transform our world. We carry all the power we need inside ourselves already, said Joan Rowling during her 2008 commencement speech at Harvard. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. Martin Luther King. If you really think small, your world will be small. If you think big, your world will be big. Pablo Coelho. Hope I'm pronouncing that right, but you need to start thinking big, okay? Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. Audrey Hepburn. You must do the things that you think you cannot do. Franklin Roosevelt. That's good. The past does not equal the future unless you live there. Tony Robbins. That's really good. Failure is just another way to learn to do something right. Wright Edelman. I'm not sure who some of these people are, but they got some good words, okay? There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. William Shakespeare. William was already always on a different level than everybody else. Because what? There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Everybody these days like, change your mind, change your life. No, William was using them words, honey. Do you hear me? He was using them words. I hope you like those affirmations. They were just a little different from the usual I am, I will, I can, I see, I am. Yeah, these celebrities have some really good things to say. So, without further ado, let's jump into the meat of this episode. And we're going to talk about boundaries. I told you last week we're going to talk about boundaries. So guess what we're doing this week? Talking about boundaries. Am I right? Okay. All right. So let's hope I remember the bullet points as to what I said I wanted to talk about with boundaries. So what is a boundary? How to know you need to set a boundary, how to set a boundary, and there's something else in there. And I guess how does it feel to set a boundary? Because that is important as well. Okay. So what are boundaries? Think of yourself as a house. Your boundaries will be your fence. Without a fence, People will have access to your lawn. People will be walking over your yard, dogs pooping on your yard. People have access, or people are able to see inside your house. They're able to see how you are moving in your house. They have access to you that they shouldn't really have, but you don't have a gate because you aren't really thinking about a gate. You're probably thinking about, getting the inside of your house furnished. But like now those people think that that's their business because you just have your house all in the open. And it's not your fault because you weren't thinking about it, right? So your boundaries would be that fence. That fence limits who has access to you. And when you want them to have access to you, certain times you want them to be able to pull up, certain times where you don't want them to pull up, just things like that. A random person walking down the street can't look into your house. They can't walk into your driveway. That's what a boundary is to me. If I had to explain it to someone that, I feel like I like to try to explain things visually because maybe that's how I learn. I'm just not really big on like using big words to try to explain things. I try to make it a little more simple because I need simple explanations. Like I can use big words, but like when I'm explaining to someone, I'm not trying to use big words to show that I have experience and I went to school because like we all went to school, right? So without boundaries in your same house, they pop up whenever they want. They don't have a sense of really caring about your home or how your home is conducted, how you care about your lawn, how you care about certain things, your outside patio furniture, whatever it may be. Okay? Your fence sets the tone for who has access to you and to what degree. Boundaries are rules we put in place with people to show what we will and will not accept from them. I like to think of a boundary as a rule. This is me telling you that I will not accept that kind of behavior from you. I will not accept for you to just be doing what you want to do and popping up at my house whenever you want to pop up because I'm not ready to interact with someone. Just if we're still on the same house situation, right? But boundaries in real life are the same. The rules, like if someone is treating you or talking to you a certain way if someone is treating you a certain way or talking to you a certain way, you tell them right then and there that you're not accepting that. You put your fence up, not saying you have to put a wall up to block people out, but you say, hey, this is where our line is with our relationship. I don't need you crossing that line, period, right? I'll jump more into that later because I'm going to jump into how to set boundaries. And it's very simple. Honestly, it's really just communicating. It's really just not ignoring how people treat you. If there's something that is going on that you don't like and someone isn't making you feel good, then you more than likely need to set a boundary. Whenever you're in a situation where you feel like someone isn't valuing your needs or your wants, a good way to know who you need to set a boundary with is if you were always complaining about this person to, other people, not really gossiping, but it's just like they really get under your skin and they're doing things that you really don't like, and they don't even care about how you feel, then you need to set a boundary. Unless they're just going to keep doing it. And I wouldn't say that people are doing it on purpose. Some people people do what they allow, period. They're going to always do what they allow. They're going to always do what they are allowed. So it'll be just as simple as communicating. I didn't like how you did that. I'm not a fan of your actions. That didn't work for me. Like when you dealing with me, you can't be like that. You could do that for everybody else, but not me. Another way to tell that you need to set a boundary with someone is if that someone makes you feel uncomfortable, like when you're around them, you don't feel good. Like when they interact with you, like you don't feel good. You kind of don't want to be around them, but you're probably around them for, various reasons. Maybe you're too nice to say that you want to be around them. Maybe they're a very close family member that you're with all the time. That's another way to know that you need to set a boundary. If you're around people that don't consider your feelings, or you feel like they're not considering your feelings or who you are as a person when you're around them, then you need to set a boundary. And lastly, I guess not really lastly, because I'm sure I'll come up with another reason or another instance, but if you are around someone that clearly disregards your values, your needs, your wants, and your limits. Everyone has a limit. But if you have someone just pushing you overboard all the time, you need to set a boundary. There's no sense in being uncomfortable around people and to still be around them. Just let them know, hey, I didn't really like that. So that's going to jump right into, it's very simple, but it's very hard to do because that means confrontation. Confrontation? That means confrontation. And a lot of us don't like that. And we don't like making people feel bad or like calling people out because you don't know how they're going to react. But do you want to be uncomfortable? Do you want to have animosity towards this person? Do you still like them and you think they're cool people, but they do push your limits? I say, even if it's with someone that you don't want to be around, don't just cut them off. Just tell them how their actions made you feel, because that will give you practice to tell someone that you really care about. And it won't be hard once you get to that point. You get where I'm going? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Get that practice so that when it comes time to when you need to with someone that you really care about, it will just be second nature. It should be natural for all of us to be able to tell people how they're functioning and what they are doing is bothering us. But I understand that it is very taunting and it's very scary because you never know. Especially if you kind of do know that this person won't take it well, because you probably witnessed them with other people and they didn't react well. But at the same time, girl, boy, guy, ma'am, sir, you gotta tell them. There's no way around it. There's no like sugarcoating. There's no like beating around the bush. You gotta tell them, because how will they know if you don't tell them? They won't know, and they'll think that they can keep pushing your limits. They know who they can and can't push limits with. Other people done told them, hey, don't play with me. Like, I don't play about that. This subject right here, this is not, I don't, no. And they know that. All they need to do is be told. So if you look at it as you helping them help you, I feel like it's a little easier, even though it's not easy. It's not easy telling someone that you don't like something that they did to you, or how they interact with you, or how they don't consider your feelings, or how you are, your limits, your values, etc. But you have to do it. Now, the last piece that I want to get into is to go in. Honestly, I want to give you this because, yes, I just said it's as simple as doing this, but at the same time, I want to give you all the tools necessary so that when you do hit a spot with this person, that you're not sidetracked by how they respond. Like I said earlier, we sometimes know when someone's going to respond negatively, but sometimes you don't know. Sometimes it could be a surprise. So with every situation, I want you to just go in knowing that they may not take that information well. They're most likely not going to be on the same level of healing that you are on, or healing at all. You go in knowing that they might not take it well. And once you set your boundary, that's what I meant to say. Once you set your boundary, once you are setting your boundaries with people, just know that it is going to be natural to not feel good about it. Because this is going against who you technically are as a person. You're very non-confrontational. You don't want to, cause no mess. You don't want to argue. You don't want to have anyone have any negative feelings towards you, and vice versa. But it is natural and normal to feel bad. But that does not mean that you should recant. That does not mean that you should let your boundaries go because you feel bad and this person made you feel bad. And it's very likely that they will make you feel bad, but you have to stay strong. Another thing that I didn't say in the beginning, but when you set a boundary, you have to stay on that boundary. You have to stand on that boundary till the end. Your boundary is a rule for you, and you have to take it seriously so that that other person can take it seriously. You can't be, I got a boundary. Oops, sorry. I have boundaries today and no boundaries tomorrow. It has to be set in stone. This is my boundary. This is my line. This is my fence. I don't need you crossing this fence. You don't have that. You're not allowed to have that kind of access to me. And I don't like how you're conducting yourself when it comes to being around or with me. Please, 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 if you didn't learn anything else in this video, please learn that you need to stand strong in your boundaries. Don't waver. Your fence needs to be stone, not wood. It needs to be set in stone. There is a situation where this one guy was tired of being with an ex-girlfriend of his. And at the time, they weren't exes. They were just going through stuff, right? So he was like, I don't want to be with you anymore. Like, I can't do this. Like, you're not really good for me, blah, blah, blah. That's a boundary. Like, okay, you're not allowed to have girlfriend access to me anymore because I am done with you. But he allowed her to convince him to come back. And now, months later, she is saying, I don't want to be your girlfriend. Like, this is it. And she's standing firm on her boundary, not allowing him to convince her otherwise. Now he's upset because she's firm on her boundary and he wasn't. People will do what they are allowed to do. What you allow people to do is how they're going to do you. They're going to treat you exactly that way. Okay? So, I hope you learned a lot from this video. Very quick, very simple. I think I like the quick, simple, honestly, because I just have a lot. I'm a homeschooling mother. I'm a stay-at-home mother. I got kids, husbands, whoa, kids and a husband. Like, I really do like helping people, but I just feel like if I can help with these little sound bites, it's not even a sound bite, with these shorter videos, then I would. And once I get more time, then I will do more, So treat your boundaries like a rules and stand strong in them. Don't let nobody tell you that your boundaries are ridiculous. Don't let anyone influence your boundaries. Your boundaries are your boundaries and you stand on them. Don't care what nobody say, because honestly, the naysayers are the ones that are trying to manipulate you to not have boundaries because they want to be able to step on somebody. They always want to step on somebody, and they're testing you to see how strong you are. You know exactly who you need to set a boundary with. People that get on your nerves, but like in a subtle way, or people that kind of get under your skin, people that do things that you don't agree with, but like you don't say anything about it. Like you feel a type of way, but you don't say anything about it. Those are the people you need to put that fence up with them. People that do things that are just like, I don't even understand like how we are communicating because it feels like you don't even know me. Boundary. People that you're always complaining about. Boundary. People that always just put you in a mood that you don't like being in. Boundary. People that you're in a mood with, but behind the scenes. Like you could be upset with someone or upset with an action that they did towards you or involving you or however in a conversation, and you're upset after that phone call or after that interaction. Set a boundary. You have to. This is for your mental health. You don't need anybody causing you that kind of stress for no reason. Because why? Okay? So this is where I will be ending the episode. That's crazy because I normally would go into other things. But yeah, I hope that best explains boundaries, how to set them, and how it is normal to feel bad after having or setting a boundary, how to take your boundary seriously, stand on it 10 toes, etc., etc. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope that it was what your soul needed. Maybe you're going through something and you were looking for that thing. It's even okay to set boundaries in relationships. Just because you just start going out with somebody don't mean that they got all access to you. No. You got to work your way up to certain things. Boundaries in a relationship are necessary because not even if you're just starting out, but just period, because that is showing or setting the way or the tone for how you want to be treated. Period. Boundaries don't have to be a straight up, like I'm cutting you off, but it is just telling people like how to treat you. What you going for, what you not going for. This is how you comfort me. This is not how you comfort me. This is how you talk to me. This is not how you talk to me. This is how you communicate with me, and this is how you don't communicate with me, because I'm not like everybody else. Okay? So with that, friends, I hope you set your boundaries and stand on them, and you don't feel bad about setting your boundaries. Eventually, you don't feel bad about setting your boundaries. Okay? Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend that you know she has people that are just walking over her, stepping all over her. Maybe that is another. Breathe, Lord Jesus. Maybe you have a friend that has people stepping all over them, and you know that they need to set clear boundaries because you know that that's not how they want to be treated, but they just allow things to happen. Send them over here. Because that's another reason why you need to set a boundary. And if that's you, set that boundary. If you feel like people are using you, set that boundary. If you feel like people are only around you for certain things, set that boundary. If you feel like people are treating you differently than how they would treat other people, but in a bad way, set that boundary. We're setting boundaries all the rest of 2022, and the rest of our lives. Okay? This is my third time trying to exit. So without further ado, I've been your illustrious host, Ashley Dukes, and I hope your week goes well, your weekend goes well, and I hope to see you next week. Bye.